Welcome to the Bag Maker's Workroom. I am Chris with Simply Classic, and today is Thursday, August 7th, 2025. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Once again, we're trying something new with audio, so hopefully our audio is much better tonight. If it's not, just leave a comment and we'll get right on it and see if we can clear it up. But during our tests, it sounded pretty good. So sometimes in real life, it's a little bit different than our tests. So hopefully we're good to go. Anyway, we'd like to thank you for joining us this evening. We're here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can't join us live, watch the recording on YouTube at any time. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video or when we go live. So Kathy says, hi, I've got my popcorn popped, my feet propped up, and finally getting to catch a live stream from the beginning. Well, thank you for joining us, Kathy. Candace says, I just finished my Zara today. I now have a new slogan, mess up, fix up, and it turned out all right. Well, great. I'm glad to hear that. I can't wait to see it. You need to post it on the Facebook group. So we are, of course, through Leather Month. We're now on to August. So we have some different things planned for you tonight. First, we're going to start out by going over what's new in the Simply Classic Scoop. I'm then going to show you our pattern of the week, which is the Gemella. We'll look at the fall and winter runways to see what's on trend this season. This is always one of my favorite episodes. I'll show you some perfect pairings based on our trends, and then we'll feature our customers' bags in Artistry Avenue. Finally, at the end, we'll do a Q&A and a pattern giveaway. So as a reminder, if you have any questions during the live stream, ask them in the YouTube chat. Please take a second to click a thumbs up button for me, and that will help us reach more people. So we're going to start out with the Simply Classic Scoop, and this is where we tell you a little bit of what's going on behind the scenes here at Simply Classic. And the first thing that I want to tell you about, back by popular demand, we just added another session of the Lacy class. And this class is part of our Leather Bag Making by Machine series. It's a 10-day course that was designed for bag makers with some leather experience who want to learn new skills. So if you took the Bandit class with me, this is really a great next step. The Lacy class includes 6 pre-recorded video lessons and 3 live Zoom check-ins. But, you know, if for whatever reason life gets in the way, like it tends to do, and you can't finish your bag in those 10 days, no problem. You will have lifetime access to your student portal and class materials, so you can complete it on your own schedule. So this here is the Lacy. We have one up here in dark brown. This is our dark brown embossed ostrich, and it gets its name from the lacing and the braiding techniques that we use to construct it. So we use one type of braiding to get the gusset and the front and back pieces together, and then a different technique here on the flap. The bag really has minimal hardware. It's just really a snap closure on the flap. And then it does have an adjustable crossbody strap that is connected with some Sam Brown studs. The interior does have a split pocket for your cell phone. There's no exterior pockets. The back is just very plain. I mean, basically, the inspiration was a very basic, plain bag that the lacing just stood out and shined. And so I really wanted to keep that, and I wanted to keep the exterior very minimalist so that the lacing would really stand out. So some details about the class is it runs from September 19th through September 29th. It is $350 and plus shipping. That covers almost everything you need to complete your Lacy, including the lessons, the pattern, which won't be released outside of the course, and a class kit with materials. So the class kit includes Italian leather in your choice of 3 colors. You have the distressed russet, elephant gray, or that very dark brown embossed ostrich, which is the one that I just showed you, the one you see here in the photo. You get matching kangaroo lace. You will get leather stiffener hardware, silver marking pen, and some other goodies. The kit does not include thread, needles, leather glue, edge paint, and a few other things that you'll need to have on hand. So if you want to continue working with leather, you really have enjoyed it, you've done a few projects, it's kind of time to get those things anyway. So if you want to see what is and what isn't included in your kit, go ahead and go to our website. We do have it linked below. And these classes are always so much fun. It's really a blast. And it's nice that people get to interact with me. I get to interact with them. They get to interact with other students. And so it's really been a success. We've enjoyed it. And I do have a third class kind of started. Takes a while to get through, of course, everything, but we'll hopefully be releasing that maybe in a few months. So it's going to, again, be a totally different kind of bag. So the other thing I want to let you know about is that we have a limited supply of faux leather mystery boxes available on the website. These are the boxes that are $74.99, and they're packed with some, less than perfect faux. They're 40 to 50% off retail prices. So each box includes 6 rolls of Simply Classic faux leather with a total value of at least $125. These rolls just didn't quite pass our strict quality control. They might have had a little blemish on it or a slight variation in size, but they're still high quality and they're very usable, just slightly imperfect. So this is really a great opportunity to stock up on faux leather at a discount, but we only have a few, so you might want to check out the website. Another thing I wanted to mention to you is that I've talked with Barbie from Genie Designs this week. I had a meeting and we have a couple spots open in our Florida retreat. If you are interested in that, email me and let me know. It's Chris, CHRIS at simplyclassic.net, because we are trying to fill a couple spots. We were filled up and a couple people couldn't come, unfortunately. And so if you're interested, we would love to have you. I'll get you in touch with the right person to get you going on that. So before we move on, we want to do our live drawing. And basically last week we had a pattern of the week, which was the Zara, the one up there at the top. That was our brand new pattern. I have to say we have sold more Zara patterns in the first week than any of our other pattern releases ever. So thank you so much to all of you for that. I hope that means you really love the pattern. Of course, we do too. And we are going to give away one tonight. So this was for the replay. So if anybody was watching the replay during the week, they had an opportunity to win a PDF Zara pattern. So we asked you for your name and your favorite fabric for lining bags. So we have some people here in our cup. I'm just going to kind of reach in and grab one and let's see who won. So Valerie says she likes bonded nylon lining, and that is such a thing. So congratulations, Valerie. You have won a PDF copy of the Zara. So please email us at share@simplyclassic.net. And we will go ahead and get that pattern out to you. You have 30 days to email us. So congratulations. So we'll be doing some more giveaways at the end of this episode. So stay tuned for that. But we want to talk about our new pattern of the week, or our pattern of the week. It's not a new pattern. It's been around for a while, but it is the Gemella. And the Jamela is a wallet. We have one here that we'll look at in just a minute. I have a couple of versions here. It's $12.49 this week, which is, of course, is the PDF pattern. And it's a wallet that really has a lot of great features. So we're going to go ahead and take a look in the overhead. I'll go ahead and grab this one right here. And the Jamela is 8 3/4 inches wide. It's 4.5 inches tall. It folds in half lengthwise. So You have a flap here, magnetic flap, or you could use a twist lock, whatever you prefer. And you can see here how this opens up. And look at how nice and large that is. It has 15 card slots, okay? 1 ID wallet. It has 2 zipper pockets here on the top that you can put cash, coins, whatever you would like in there, receipts. And then on the back, you do have a cell phone wallet that your cell phone can fit in. And these pockets can fit pretty large cell phones. We make sure that we try to make those as large as possible because we know everybody has different size cell phones and some of them are pretty big these days. Now, you can customize this. You can change the number of card slots on the inside. You can change the configuration of the card slots. You could add maybe a cell phone pocket on the inside or leave the cell phone pocket off altogether. You can turn it into a crossbody, which is the other one that I have up here. Basically, you just put a couple of straps here and use a chain and you can, I mean, there's just so many things you can do with this. It is written for non-fraying fabrics. So that's cork, real leather, and faux leather. And the reason why is because we are actually putting wrong sides together to stitch this, and then we're just edge coating the bottom seam here. So again, there's some hacks on YouTube. Go ahead and check those out. Go ahead and also check out the full tutorial for the Gemella. Again, it is our pattern of the week. It is $12.49 this week. And we also have a version with SVG files that's on sale for $17.49. So at the end of today's episode, we'll give away a free PDF pattern for the Jamela to someone who's watching live. But right now, I want to tell you how to enter the giveaway if you're watching the replay. So if you're later in the week, you're watching and you want to know how to win or enter, what you need to do is leave a comment on the video before next Thursday. And we just need 2 things, your first name and your favorite tip or product for organizing your workroom. So we all need those tips. We all have things that we can share with each other, and we want to hear what you do. So again, this is for replay watchers only. And next week, I will randomly select a winner for the Jamela. So we are going to do some designer bag inspiration tonight. And you know, this is normally where I normally show you perfect pairings first, but we're going to hold off on that because our perfect pairings are going to be based on the runway trends. So we want to show you some things. And the designer bag trends from the fall and winter runways, kind of like, you know, sometimes they're a little predictable, but there's some surprising things in there too. Now, it's really a skill to be able to spot trends and incorporate them into our bag making in tasteful ways. Okay, so this is gonna also kind of be a skill builder here and kind of a sharpen your skills as we go through these photos. And I'm going to try to point some things out to you. So, you know, it doesn't mean that you have to incorporate everything. It doesn't mean you have to like everything, but it just means that we should probably know what's out there, what's coming up, and that way we can take what we like from it and then just leave the rest. So, for example, last time we looked at runway style, it was one of the biggest trends was the East-West bag. And a lot of people asked me, you know, are you going to make an East-West bag? I really want you to make an East-West bag. But, you know, it's just not really, it's not really a bag I love, okay? It's just the style of it. I don't know. It just, it wasn't really, it hasn't been my favorite. So I've got some other ideas and some other things I'd like to do. And one of them, of course, was the Zara, which kind of sort of, I guess, mimics an East-West bag because it's short and it's fatter, but it doesn't follow the rules of an East-West bag. So, you know, basically what I did was looked at the trends, looked to see what I liked, and then went from there and created something that I really loved. So today I want to look at some bag shapes and fun materials and colors that were on the runways for the fall and winter. So here's kind of an overview of those trends, and we're going to talk about each one in more detail. But one thing to keep in mind is that a lot of the biggest trends we saw for spring and summer were still very popular for fall and winter, like suede, very popular, embossed croc, very popular, snakeskin, burgundy bags, and quite a few others. And so we won't be covering those because those are all still kind of the same. But you will see some of that featured in these bags that we're going to look at tonight. So as we talk about each of these trends and look at these examples, I want to hear what you think. So do you love them? Do you hate them? Which designers do you think did really good on the trends? Okay, and which do you think maybe didn't do so well? So let me know in the chat. Okay, let's kind of make this interactive. I want to hear what you have to think, and we always appreciate everybody's opinions. And you know, sometimes we can respectfully disagree on things, right? I might love something, you might not, and that's okay, or vice versa. All right. So the first thing we want to talk about is trending bag shapes. So first we have this really unusual one. It's like a vanity bag. Okay, that's what they're calling it, vanity bag. And these are upscale versions of toiletry bags or makeup pouches that you can carry as a handbag. Sometimes they're really just purses that were designed to look like a beauty bag, but other times they're designed for carrying our toiletries. So dozens of different brands did their own takes on this style. It's not something we typically see in high-end fashion, so it's definitely something to keep an eye on. We also saw a lot of clutches, but with a twist. So they tend to have unique slip handles or other features that make them easy to carry. So in these designer examples here, we have a corset-inspired handle, a belt-inspired handle with like that oversized buckle, and then a flap that unzips so that you can use it as a slip handle. So slip handles were very, very much all over the runway. And if you like the idea of a slip handle, I do want to show you something in the overhead real quick. We have the Simply Classic clutch, and you guys have seen this before. This is a pattern, you know, mostly obviously what shines on this is the quilted pattern, this Dior inspired pattern, but it has the slip handle. So, you know, you can hang on to it maybe this way. You know, there's just a couple different ways that you can kind of hang on to this. But wouldn't this be cool with one of those things we just saw? So what I'm picturing is sliding some hardware on here, like either a buckle or an O-ring or something on here to kind of jazz this up. So Sean says, love a great clutch, getting ideas with this buckle. I agree. I think that this would be a really cool thing to do. And maybe what you do is you don't quilt it because you want the hardware to stand out. And maybe that's what stands out on that slip handle. Maybe you make the slip handle wider. That would be cool too. And stitch it on instead of using rivets. I mean, there's just so many things you can do. So again, you know, and we're kind of doing a sharpen your skills and a trend thing here all together. Look at the designs. You know, maybe you don't love the corset handle. Maybe you don't love the big buckle on the handle, but it might give you some ideas on how to take a pattern and change it up to be a little more on trend with the pattern without having to, you know, start from scratch. Okay, so moving along, this final shape that I want to show you is what they're calling a hug bag or a hug style bag. And I remember we've looked at this before. I don't know if you remember this, but I don't know of any other name that they give this bag. The Ferragamo hug bag is kind of the one that started this, and you can see that one in the middle there. It has those little arms that look like they come around the front of the bag and hug it, which is where it gets its name. Are they called something different? Has anybody heard of that? I mean, I've only seen them as hug bags. I haven't seen anything else. So, of course, other designers are starting to copy. And so you see a few here, different variations on that same kind of quote unquote hug style. So this is something that's very trendy. Kind of reminds me, the one on the right there kind of reminds me a little bit of a fortune cookie, the way the sides kind of, you know how on a fortune cookie, the sides kind of suck in and anyway, interesting. So we're going to move on to materials and textures. So distressed, aged, and crinkled leather were all over the place, all over the fall runway. And these bags are a bit more rugged and have a really vintage look to them. So if you really like this trend, check out our distressed leather hides. We have quite a few shades of brown, and they're really beautiful. I'm going to show you one here on the overhead that we have, and I think we've featured this one before. It is, you can see it's got like crinkles in it. I mean, it's kind of cool, and it's very distressed. It's kind of like dark and light colors here, and you really don't have to worry as much either about imperfections because the distressed look is kind of like part of the imperfection. So this is our golden brown color. We have dark brown. We have a couple others, and you might want to check that out. And we have some other things as well. But that would really be cool with some of these bags. Another thing we saw is, well, ostrich. Okay, ostrich was really big on the runway for fall. Now, back in the spring, we saw a lot of snake and crocodile, and that did carry over to fall runways too, but ostrich is kind of a new addition to that. So there wasn't a lot of this in the spring and summer, interestingly, but now we see them, and there's a lot of dark and neutral colors. But in the stores, we're seeing a much wider range of colors, like the periwinkle one there on the left from Dooney and Burke. So just a little tidbit, we actually just got a big order in. All of our faux ostriches are restocked. We have 14 colors available. I know a lot of you were waiting on the dark purple and the leaf green, and that bag over there on the right kind of reminds me of our leaf green color. But they're both back in stock. So I do want to show you one thing. Ostrich is my favorite. Yeah, me too. I love, it's one of my favorites. I mean, it's something that we sell all the time. Well, I want to take a look here. I want to show you two things. I have two pieces of ostrich here. Okay. One is, well, it's going to probably give it away. One's real leather and one is faux leather. So which is which? And I'm sure, you know, there's something here that's giving it away. But you know, because of this, you can probably tell this is real leather, and it is, and this is our faux. I mean, if you did not know it, you would not know it, right? Faux leather is just amazing what they can do with it these days. And the quality is really amazing. Now, what I want to point out on this is that our faux leather, if you take a gauge to it, it is about 1 to 1.2 millimeters thick. Okay, this is an embossed leather hide. Okay, so this is lambskin and it's embossed to look like ostrich. This leather, real leather, is 0.6 millimeters thick. So the real leather is thinner than the faux leather. So Susie says, yeah, it's very hard to tell. It really is. If we had kind of taken this part out, you probably wouldn't have been able to tell at all. I can't tell. You know, I mean, it's amazing to me when we got it in, you know, we did a little comparison just for ourselves because we wanted to see, and we were amazed at how similar they are. They really are fantastic. So anyway, if your machine will handle this faux leather, your machine will definitely handle the real leather because the real leather is almost half the thickness. So Kathy says, recently received my order that included ostrich faux leather. It's even nicer in person. Well, thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that. Just a little tidbit. You know, we're always looking for new suppliers and talking with people. And we have a supplier that I was looking at from overseas. They were from Bangladesh. And I always ask for samples because I want to see, you know, I know the quality of our product, and it's very important to me to keep a really high quality product. I don't want to skimp on that. And so we got these samples in, and of course they sent us some ostrich to look at. And oh my gosh, we were so disappointed. We were like, yeah, we're not doing this. It is not good. And there's nothing wrong with our current supplier. We just like to have different, people that we can go to. And so anyway, that one that I got the samples from, that's not going to be one of them. There's definitely different qualities. Okay, let's move on. Fur. Fur and hair on hide are everywhere. And there's a lot of variety in it. So there was a lot of real fur. There was some fake fur. There was some shearling, which is that bag there on the bottom left on the very sides. It's kind of like a shearling. There was hair on hide, all different kinds of materials. But unlike in the past, the fur was not dyed and all different kind of crazy colors. It was mostly natural, like what you're seeing here. So I personally, now, I think for fall and for winter, it's probably more appropriate to have it natural. In the spring and fall is where some of the fun, usually colors come in. But hey, just a little side note, look at that clutch. That's I guess you could call it a clutch. Definitely different, but see, it's got the slip handle. It's a fur clutch with that belted slip handle. Those slip handles are really popular. So Diane says, I'd love to try to work with some kind of fur. Yes, we do have, the Banda's bag has a little bit of hair on hide on the side. Fur is, I don't want to say it's more difficult. It's just, you can't use, like if you were going to put some double-sided tape on the front of it to, maybe overlap seams, it's a little tougher. I personally, this is just a side note, I personally don't like seeing stitching on fur. So whenever I work with hair on hide, I always find ways to not have to top stitch on it or stitch on it, because I think it takes away from the look of the fur or hair on hide. So Kathy says, tip, cut the hair on hide from the backside. Yes, absolutely do that. Especially the thicker it is, you can just cut through the skin and then you're not even cutting the fur, and it makes it much cleaner in your workroom. Thank you for mentioning that. Stephanie says, ooh, I'm wanting a hair on hide package to do my Zara accent. Hey, that would be pretty to have. Ooh, yeah, to have that center piece. Ooh, that's a good idea. I like that. Okay, so let's move on to some notable bag features that we're seeing this fall. So the first thing is 3D pockets or dimensional pockets. They're a little reminiscent of cargo pants, but in a bag form. So this style does look a little more casual. That casualness is also reflected in the materials that some of these bags are made from. So a lot of them are made from corduroy or nylon, suede, canvas. Definitely not all of them. That mulberry bag on the left is made out of real pebbled leather. But these 3D dimensional bag or pockets on the outside of bags is definitely something I think you either love or you hate. Okay, I don't know. They're not my favorite, but I see them on a lot of bags. They definitely hold a lot, and I think they're very functional. To me, I think maybe because when I picture some of these three-dimensional pockets, I'm picturing like an old camera bag where they used to put lenses or films. It's more of a storage thing. Or even like if you have a concealed carry bag or some kind of bag like that, the magazine would go into the 3D pocket. To me, it's more of a functional bag. What am I trying to say? Like a industrial type bag than anything else. So Candace says, I have to say, it makes me think of hiking. Yeah. They're more functional than stylish, maybe, I guess you could say, in my mind. But anyway, so this has been a big trend. We saw these. Okay, the next thing, and this is not hard to do, double chain straps. So you know, chains aren't new. We've seen chains all over the place, and we see them every season, but they're doubling them up for the fall. And each one of these bags uses a double chain strap. So either they're two together or they double them up. Now, some chains can be removed and adjusted so you don't necessarily have to wear it as a double. But it's really interesting to see how many designers are styling their bags this way with double chains. Okay, final trend we want to talk about are these flaps. So more specifically, these hardware-free flaps. It's crazy. I mean, when I came out with the Zara bag, I sent it to my testers. I had a couple testers that had to put hardware on the flap. They're like, no, we can't do it. We have to put hardware on our flap. And so I said, yeah, but it's designed to not have hardware on it. But some of us just, you know, the thought process is you put hardware on the flap. The flap is there to be magnetic snap down or twist lock down or something to secure the bag, but that's not necessarily the case. And that's the trend we're seeing. Are the flaps are a little more maybe floppy is the right word. They're not as stiff. The Zara is a perfect example of this. It was you know, designed after this Loewe puzzle bag. And I think this trend really started with the Loewe puzzle bag, which is on the left there. Just a lot of different designers are doing it. No stabilizer in the flap. The flap is just there to kind of lay free, lay on the top of the bag. And it's just, yeah, it's just the way it is. So we're going to go to the overhead real quick. I just want to show you this to point out that, like in this Zara, okay, here's the flap, and there's no hardware on it. Okay, you can see there's no hardware here, there's no hardware here, and there's no stiffener in this flap. I mean, there's nothing in this flap. Okay, there's no stabilizer or anything, and it's just made to flop over and flop down. So again, something different, something new. We're seeing a lot of them. Of course, other designers are starting to copy Loewe because that's how that goes. And so anyway, I kind of like that one there in the middle, the balloon bag. It almost looks like the Booster bag. It has the same shape as the Booster bag. Especially if you took the handle off and you use the chain handle for the Booster, and then the flap is just a little different. So the flap is made to flap. I like that lady finger. Yep. It's like waving in the wind. Okay, so let's talk about colors. So we aren't going to talk about black or brown or burgundy because those are very popular colors all the time. And they're very neutral and very popular for winter. But I do have one neutral color that I thought was worth spotlighting. So we are going to look at gray. So, you know, that old movie, 50 Shades of Grey. Well, it's 50 Shades of Grey in bags. And it was really all over the runway for fall. And you can see here, there's different colors of it. There's different tones, different, you know, you can see that one there, that Balenciaga is more of a dark gray, where the Tory Burch is really a very, very light gray. And the color gray really had a few years where it wasn't very popular. And I think it's possibly because it was associated with a quote unquote millennial gray. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with that term, but it became kind of a joke online that homes of young people that they were moving into were all boring and gray. They weren't using any color to decorate. But in reality, gray isn't going anywhere. And it's a classic neutral shade. It's very versatile. And these bags right here prove it. One that stood out to me was the Balenciaga one. And here's why. Usually when I use gray, like if I'm going to stitch with gray, I'm going to use either gunmetal or nickel hardware. They paired it with this kind of antique gold color. and it really looks nice. It's not a color I would have paired with it, but it does look very nice together, very stunning, and I think it works. All right, the next one I want to tell you about is blue. And, you know, navy is navy. So many people love navy. There's so much navy out there. It's very, very classic. And a lot of times it's even used as a neutral in a lot of cases. And you can just see some examples here of some very typical navy bags. You can see there's not a lot of color difference in navy. I mean, navy is navy. It's not light gray. You know, light gray, dark gray. Because if you start to get into other colors of navy, you're really getting into other colors of blue that are called different things. So navy is typically a darker blue, like what you see here. And then the final colors I want to tell you about, and this one is shocking, pastels. So if you've ever seen the movie The Devil Wears Prada with Meryl Streep, she plays the editor-in-chief of a fashion magazine. And one of her most memorable lines is, she's very sarcastic, and she says, "Pastels for spring, revolutionary." Well, now we have pastels for fall. So we're seeing all kinds of soft colors this season, like pale pink, periwinkle, seafoam, lavender. Usually in the fall and winter, people go for darker colors in jewel tones, like some, you know, maybe jade green and, you know, like a azure blue, very dark, like a navy blue, but maybe not so navy, maybe more of a like in between. But we didn't really see that. We saw this pastel kind of trend here. So all of these colors I would associate with spring or Easter. It kind of looks like Easter colors to me. So it's really interesting that, you know, it's a winter trend. But we have a lot of pretty pastel leather hides. And so, you know, if you want to be on trend, check it out, because there might be something you can find. So to recap, here are some of the biggest bag trends for winter and fall. Styles are vanity, easy to carry clutches, like with slip handles, and these hug style bags. The materials we're seeing are distressed, whether it's leather, faux leather, whatever, ostrich and fur, whatever kind of fur, whether it's hair on hide or faux fur or whatever. Features are 3D pockets, double chains, and these hardware-free flaps, flappy flops. And then colors are gray, all shades of gray, navy, and then pastels. So I would love to know what you think about these trends and which ones really inspired you. So Lady Pink Bag says, gray and navy are two of my best-selling bags. Navy is one, you know, interestingly, just personal, I've never liked navy. Navy's just, I don't have a pair of navy shoes. I don't wear navy pants. I've never had navy. I've never worn navy. Navy just isn't really my color, but man, do we sell a lot of navy. Diane says, I just completed my navy bag for fall. Yeah, I mean, navy is just so popular. And it's not that I don't like blues, because I do, but whatever reason, navy just isn't, it just isn't really my thing. But I see bags in it. It is beautiful. They're beautiful. I love them. But I don't know that I would carry them. Again, personal preference. We all have our own things that we like and dislike. So I can tell you one thing. I'm working on the 3rd quarter bag making subscription box. And one of these trends, there's a bag. That's what the bag's going to be. So I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you can guess. But we're not going to tell you. You got to wait. Okay, perfect pairings. Let's go ahead and take a look at some perfect pairings based on these trends. And this is where we pair some leather and faux leather with lining and thread and hardware to kind of let you know what we think goes together. Sometimes it's hard to tell when you're shopping online, and we think that this helps, and we hope it does help. So we are going to start with our faux leather pairing. And of course, we have to go with ostrich. And furthermore, we have to go with navy ostrich, because navy and ostrich were both trends. So why not put them together? We also have a navy, let me bring this over. we have our navy adhesive lining. And of course, we're talking about adhesive lining today because the Gemella uses adhesive lining. So that would go great in this bag. Black would too, either one. We think gunmetal hardware would look fantastic with this. Because of the black in here. And then we would use black thread. So I think that would be an amazing pairing for Jamela or any other bag that you would like to make. And then for our leather pairing, we're going to go wild here, and we're going to show you our very light pink. Very light pink is one of my very favorite colors. And one of my very favorite, I have two favorite leather colors that we have. They both would actually be good for this. And I'm sorry, it's not very light pink, it's barely pink. Sorry, I told you the wrong thing. This is called barely pink. But anyway, it's the barely pink and honeydew. We have a color called honeydew that's kind of a pastel-y green color. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So anyway, we're going to say barely pink. And we would suggest the white. We now have a white adhesive lining. I suggest bronze hardware. Look at how pretty that looks with the barely pink. And then white thread for this. Now, we're going to keep even the overhead because I want to show you a Jamela made in this. Some time ago, I did a hack for the Jamela, and I did a little crossbody. And I actually used the hardware in the bronze with it. I went ahead and just threaded a piece of this leather through the handle to kind of give it a cool look. And then I quilted the leather. So this is a 60-degree angle design on this. Used a twist lock. And the this is a cream and bronze zipper that I used. Now, I put the cell phone pocket on the back, but I changed the configuration of it. Instead of going side to side like it does in the pattern, I turned it to go up and down. I'll show you how to do that. And then on the inside, I changed the configuration of the pockets so that when this is hanging off my body, all of the credit card pockets are facing up. Okay, oops, sorry about that. Facing up. So I pull the card out this way, and then same thing up here. You know, I pull the card out this way. So they're all facing up so that nothing's upside down here. And you can also see that the ID slot is at the bottom, where in the pattern, actually the way the pattern is written, the ID slot is on the bottom here. So you can easily change this configuration, no problem. I'll show you how to do that in the hack video. But this is really one of my favorite bags that I think I have ever made. I think the color is beautiful. Love the bronze hardware with it. I mean, it's really a great bag. So what do you use for the ID slot? Diane asked. I assume you're asking about the plastic here, maybe? And it is just some clear vinyl that I probably got at a local store, like might have even been like Joann's when they were still open or something. I had a whole bunch of it. It comes on a roll and it has like a paper backing behind it. It's not sticky or anything, but just so that you can see it. And I mean, I use such little pieces at a time that it lasts a very long time. Okay. So we think that either one of those pairings would make a fantastic Jamela or any bag that you would like to make. Now, I do want to say that the barely pink leather is 10% off this week. And then, of course, the Jamela pattern is $12.49 until next week, next Wednesday. So Patricia says, how do you finish the end of the leather in the strap you weave? That's a good question. Let's take a look. Go back to the overhead. So what I did was basically just folded it over and put some glue. Okay. So I weaved it through, came back up the other side, and just kind of glued it to itself. And I just used some super glue, just a little bit of super glue, and it stays in place. Because that super glue is strong. Think about when you get super glue on your skin, what it does. Oh, it's impossible to get off. But that's all I did. Super easy. Good question. Okay, so now it's time for Artistry Avenue. This is my favorite part because this is where we feature bags made by you, our customers. Every week we share bags that were posted in the Simply Classic bag making community on Facebook or email to share@simplyclassic.net. Featured artists will win a PDF pattern of your choice. This is open worldwide. If we feature your pattern, you have 30 days to email share@simplyclassic.net to let us know which pattern you'd like. Please make sure you email that email address, share@simplyclassic.net, because if you try to email me or if you try to put a message on our website, I promise you it's going to get lost in the shuffle. We have a lot going on, a lot coming in, and we know that when things go there, it has to at Bag Maker's Workroom. We can get you what you need quickly. So let's take a look at this week's artists. So we had to feature Jamela, and let me tell you, Sheila has made a bunch of Gemellas over the past couple of months, and they are all amazing. This one really stood out. It is a purple one. It's got some pink accents. She added a crossbody strap, and I like the way she used chain for part of it, and then a leather or faux leather for the rest of it. And it is modified, the back, you can see the cell phone there, it's modified for that. She said she's been selling these like crazy, and this was, this one went quick. I love the way she was able to center that crocodile kind of pattern right in the middle. I mean, that speaks for itself. You don't have to do much else. A lot of times these fabrics and these faux just do all the work for us. Beautiful. We also want to feature Ginger. She made the Zara, and this, of course, is the new pattern. She used our bright blue faux leather, which was included in last quarter's bag making subscription box, and she added this really beautiful dark purple as an accent color. She used the extra blue faux that she didn't use on that center part for the, where she used the purple instead to make herself a little matching pocket pal. Fantastic job. Love this. And then Cynthia, right on trend, made a Roseanne, and she did something that I absolutely love, which is pairing two materials that are the same color but different textures. So she used our faux suede and our textured faux leather, both in navy. And very on trend. I mean, perfect timing, perfect for fall, perfect for winter. You couldn't have done it better. Absolutely gorgeous. And I love using, I love that. It's kind of a, Mary says, love these bags. I know you're so amazing. You do amazing jobs. Candace says, good job, ladies. They're just beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. So, I mean, Cynthia, you could have done this whole episode all by yourself with that bag. It's just, you did fantastic. So congratulations to all of our artists. Please email us within 30 days to let us know which PDF pattern you would like. So before we move on to our Q&A, let's give away a PDF pattern for the Gemella wallet, which is our pattern of the week. This is a giveaway. It's for the live stream. So if you're watching live, now's your time. It is open worldwide. So to win, or not to win, well, hopefully you win, to enter the giveaway, type the word twin, T-W-I-N, in the chat, because Jamela is the Italian word for twin. And the reason why it's named that is because the two sections are like the same, right? They're twins of each other and they match up. So anyway, we got to get creative with the name sometimes. So please enter just one time. We're going to have the computer select a winner while we do our Q&A. And first, I want to share is, it's not a question, but I do want to just mention it. If you caught our episode last week, we talked about base coating and edge painting leather. And a few of you posted some really great ideas for storing small amounts of edge paint. And I think these were just amazing. So I want to mention them. So Francois suggested using a small cosmetic jar with a lid. She said you can get them on Amazon. Gail said that she uses old contact lens containers, which I remember I used to wear contacts. Those little ones, the double, and Oh yeah, that's perfect. Love that. And then Kathy said she uses little glass airbrush jars that she gets on Amazon. So of course, you know, Amazon, you can't just buy anything these days, but you know, think outside the box and think about things that maybe you wouldn't normally use for sewing, but it's amazing what we can find for things when we do that. We think outside the box. So I want to thank y'all for sharing that. So Lynn asks, have you ever shown how to use and apply the Sam Brown studs, and can you use them with faux leather? So I have used, we definitely do it in a Lacey class. I'm trying to think if I ever did a bag. I think I did a video. I have to search for it with Sam Brown buckles. If we can find it, I will let you know which one that is, or Shauna will. One of us will, because I'm pretty sure I used them on a bag. And yes, you can use them with faux, no problem. Yeah, those Sam Brown buckles are pretty cool. I like them. And then Jack1673 says, Chris, have you ever sewn the ostrich on both machines? Have you noticed a difference? I have sewn them on both machines. And the reason why is because it's some of our thickest faux. And so I like to do tests with it because I figure if the Burnett can stitch through it, we're good to go. So all of the tests pretty much that I do on the Burnett versus the industrial, I almost always use ostrich, the faux ostrich, because it is thicker and works great. I mean, it really, I don't have any problems. I did get an email from somebody the other day that said they were having a little bit of a problem top stitching their Bircham on their Burnett. And I don't know what kind of material they used. And I asked, and I haven't heard back if were using ostrich or not. You know, sometimes where you have intersecting seams, it can get a little hairy. And what I suggest with that is stitch up to the seam, do a back stitch, and then just get on the other side of the seam, pick it back up, and then go forward. And don't even try to stitch over that seam. Because, you know, when you get to that point, sometimes you have, you know, 8 layers, and that's tough. I mean, unless you have an industrial, that's really tough. So Dottie says, buy Annie clear vinyl is nice. There you go. Yes, buy Annie. I tell you, I like the soft and stable too. That's a lot of times what I use with some of the classic clutches, and buy Annie's got great products. Of course, she's been around. She's been around for a long time. Sweet lady. Terry says, Chris, do you sell magnetic conchos besides the set? I have the set, but we'd like to get some conchos. Yes, we have. No, we don't. We actually are discontinuing those. I'm sorry. First I was thinking of something else. What we have now, we're going to go to the overhead because I want to show this to you. These are our magnetic conchos, our new ones that we're basically replacing what we had with these. So this is a magnetic snap, okay? It has a base just like, and I have some foam on here, but just like a magnetic snap with the 2 prongs. And then the head of it unscrews, and all you do is you punch a hole in your, well, let me go the right way. You punch a hole in your project, and it's actually a 1/2 inch hole. So we have 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch hole punches. And which, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this off. I can't get it off. It unscrews. There we go. You punch the hole. And see there's threads on this one here. And once you punch a hole, you stick this through, you screw it on, use a little bit of Loctite. This stays together. And then, of course, this is the other side of magnetic snap, and it just goes together, and now you have your magnetic snap this way. We found the conchos, a lot of people were struggling with setting them. They've worked on thinner fabrics, but when you, like ostrich, you couldn't use them. And so we got with our supplier, and we were trying to ask them to increase the width or the height of the magnetic part. And honestly, we just really weren't pleased. A lot of them were kind of starting to come apart, and I just didn't like the quality of what they were giving us. So it was something I had worked with them to design, and it just, I just kind of didn't like where it ended up. So we decided to discontinue those. Okay, winter time. Let's see who won. So Susie Free, congratulations. Please email share@simplyclassic.net. You have won a pattern of the week, which is the Gemella. So if you can email us within the next 24 hours, we appreciate that. It gives us a little less to keep up with, and it gets you your pattern quicker. So thank you so much for joining me in the Bag Maker's Workroom this evening. I hope that everybody has a safe weekend. Make sure to join us next Thursday, August 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be talking about how to mix and match pattern pieces from different bags to create something new. Don't forget to submit your completed bags, put them either on the Facebook group or email them to share@simplyclassic.net. Please give me a thumbs up on the way out. And until next time, everybody, happy sewing.